Welcome to Business Digest, where we delve into the policies, people, and practices shaping the environment and the economy. Today, we are talking sustainability. Joining us is the woman who's at the forefront of that transformation. Welcome to the studio, Debswana.
Thank you very much for having me here today.
Emma, do introduce yourself and what do you do?
My role as Senior Manager, Environment, Social and Governance Integration. Basically, my role, I'm responsible for ensuring that environment, social and governance is integrated into Debswana's operations.
Emma, may you kindly share with us the importance Debswana attaches to sustainability and particularly the environmental impact of its activities?
In Debswana, really, sustainability is a fundamental aspect of our operation, embedded into our strategic direction, even our corporate strategy. But really, in going into sustainability as a key corporate strategy pillar, our definition of how we implement and integrate sustainability into our operation is defined in our ESG strategy. I'm going to continue using ESG as an abbreviation for environment, social and governance. And really within our ESG strategy, it's where we outline our commitment, covering all aspects of the ESG, being environment, social and governance. And really, with the aim outlined in our ESG strategy, it's really one, talking advancing industry standards. Two, we are here to enhance transparency in terms of how we mine our diamonds. And three, we are here to also improve the livelihood of the communities within which we operate, but mainly the entire Botswana as a country, as the biggest contributor into the economy of the country. So really our priorities: environmental protection, environmental minimizing our environmental impact, its social development, and robust governance practices. So basically, that's how we embed, we value ESG as a company.
Emma, I mean, mining on its nature is an extractive process which involves impact environment. How is Debswana working to ensure that this impact is minimized?
Yeah, we do appreciate that mining as an extractive process impacts on the environment. Let me start by indicating that Debswana, for over 20 years, we have been environmental management system ISO 14001 certified. That system really works in a process where we plan our activities. In planning our activities within the value chain of our process in terms of mining the diamond, we establish our integration or impact on the environment and identify what impacts in every process, from mining the diamond, from the pit until we produce the diamonds. In every process, we identify the impacts. And after identifying the impacts, we come up with mitigation measures to actually minimize the impact. In us identifying the mitigation measures, we actually apply the hierarchy of controls. Where possible, we eliminate the impact. If not, we minimize. So that is how initially, as an initial process in terms of ensuring that we mitigate the environmental impacts, we follow that process. But let me also highlight that as part of us really acknowledging that our extractive process impact on the environment, we've set aside land for biodiversity management. Every 6 hectares committed into the mining process, we have conserved that area. Therefore, we have game parks in all our operations in Joining and Orapa, where we've kept several hectares for biodiversity conservation, as an appreciation that we do have an impact on the environment.
Emma, share more details on the sustainability initiatives that Debswana has in place.
In terms of sustainability initiatives, as I initially indicated, we have an ESG strategy that actually guides, that has pathways to us achieving our 2030 commitments. And our initiatives are actually aligned to our ESG strategy. Let me just highlight a few, not necessarily mentioning all of them here, but to indicate that key to our initiatives is our carbon neutrality journey, where we are intending to really reduce our carbon footprint as one of the organizations that really contributes a lot in terms of carbon footprint, because our mining processes really require a lot of diesel in our trucks. So we use a lot of electricity in our plants. So in us acknowledging our impact in there, we have a decarbonization pathway where our strategy is saying to say, let's look at what we can use as alternative fuels to diesel. Let's look at where we can save electricity, that is energy efficiency. Let's also look at alternative energy. We all appreciate that now we are getting our energy through coal mining, but let's look at looking into renewable energy. That is one of the initiatives that we're implementing. In addition to that, I've talked to the environmental. Socially, we have a commitment where under gender diversity and inclusion, where we've deliberately made efforts in terms of including differently abled people within Debswana. We have over 100 differently abled persons in Debswana working with us and being integrated in our processes. That is one of the initiatives that I just want to highlight. One other key one, talking to the space of improving the livelihood of Botswana, is in terms of job creation. We've actually committed to creating 38,000 jobs by 2030. And how are we doing that? We have a socio-economic development strategy that really focuses on economic diversification, community empowerment, and sustainable livelihoods. Let me also add that I think a lot of you have heard about our Citizen Economic Empowerment Program, which has really contributed significantly to job creations. So those are some of the initiatives that I can mention that are under our sustainability strategy.
Emma, you've mentioned Debswana's commitment to becoming carbon neutral in its operations. Why is this important?
It is very important. Let me also indicate that the issue of us committing to carbon neutrality is the appreciation that we are living in a world where climate change is real. Let me just give a quick scenario that we experienced recently as a country. We had floods in Gaborone. If I can recall, in the years of my life, I've never seen that kind of flood. So I'm here to say climate change is real. And us as an organization that is responsible and that takes sustainability seriously and integrated in our processes, we've made that commitment because we also want to contribute to the climate change mitigations. But important as well for us is the adaptation as a business. I could tell at the time of floods in Gaborone how much we affected, how much some of us were unprepared for that because we are not used to that kind of environment. So we need to have, as a business, also adaptation measures to the issues of climate change. Going back to our decarbonization strategy, it's actually hinged on 4 key pillars. That is reducing our energy intensity. I've already talked about how much energy we use in terms of running our plants. We also are looking at transitioning to alternative fuels. I've also indicated that we use a lot of diesel, but there are other alternative greener or environmentally friendly fuels out there that we can use. We are also talking to transitioning to renewable energy. I think you've seen of recent where we've signed a memorandum of agreement with BPC in terms of renewable energy. So really, those are some of the key initiatives under our decarbonization journey.
Emma, thank you, Mepitlagano. We are going for a quick commercial break. We'll be back.
For more than 50 years, Debswana's success has been the result of a solid and enduring partnership between the Botswana government and De Beers. This has been underpinned by the resilience and commitment of its workforce. The Debswana story is one marked by a careful stewardship, wise investment, and shared prosperity by all stakeholders. Debswana is motivated by its vision of becoming a global benchmark diamond business and is regarded as one of the world's leading diamond producers by value. It currently operates 4 operations. Orapa and Damtsha mines, the Letlhakane mine tailings treatment plant, and Jwaneng mine. Recovered diamonds are sold to the diamond trading company Debswana in Gaborone, one of the world's most sophisticated rough diamond sorting and valuing facilities. After this stage, the diamonds are sold to the De Beers Global Site Holder Sales for aggregation and to the wholly government-owned Okavango Diamond Company, ODC. The diamonds are then sold to the world's leading diamond tears, known as site holders, to be cut and polished before being sold to jewelry manufacturers both locally and abroad. Debswana is the largest employer in Botswana after the government, with over 5,500 employees and 6,000 contractors. The company recognizes that having a more diverse and inclusive workforce is not only the right thing to do, but also a business imperative. Debswana is guided by the Social Way framework, which establishes social performance principles by delivering a lasting positive contribution to communities, managing risks and impacts. Debswana's vision and values underpin the way it operates. They guide the way it deals with its people and its stakeholders, empowering the company to make life brilliant and turn diamond dreams into reality. One of the company's core values is to conduct business in a manner that upholds the safety and health of its employees, visitors, and contractors, and minimize impact on the environment. Debswana's environmental and safety systems conform to the highest international standards. The game parks surrounding its larger operations are well stocked and protected and are used as popular recreational destinations and for environmental education. Through the significant contribution of Debswana, Botswana is now regarded as a modern economic success story, a country with modest beginnings that has transformed itself into a rapidly developing upper-middle income economy. Even though diamonds are finite, Debswana remains a beacon of hope for Botswana and will continue to be such for the foreseeable future. Debswana, mining diamonds, enriching the nation.
Welcome back. Me Pitlagano, before our breaking, you were talking about Debswana becoming carbon neutral by operations by 2030. How are the efforts progressing towards reaching the carbon neutral status in the next 5 years?
Yeah, it can be a bit scary. Years pass by quite very quickly. We are 5 years to our commitment of being carbon neutral by 2030. And I must indicate that we are really progressing quite well. In my earlier deliberations, I've talked to some of the commitments that are within our pathways to carbon neutral in 2030. I've talked about energy efficiencies. And so far, we've seen quite good progress. For instance, we had a target last year of 80% energy efficiency, and we have seen us achieving 10.2%, already surpassing what we've set for ourselves in there. But basically, when we say energy efficiency gains, we are looking at where can we save energy, where can we use less electricity within our processes. So that is what we have achieved so far. It is about looking within our operations and say, what can we do? Can we upgrade some of the processes within our operations? Can we optimize? How can we optimize our processes so as for us to save the energy that we are using in our processes? And talking to the second part within our pathway of carbon neutrality is adoption of alternative fuels. I've already indicated that there are, research have shown us that there are some other alternative fuels out there that we can use. And one of the steps that we've done is introduction of electric vehicles in both our mines. And for the past year, they've been on feasibility study, like really testing their efficiencies to be able to work in our mining environment. And also looking at trolley assist systems that can help us in terms of really reducing our reliance in the traditional fuels that we use, that is your diesel. And moving on now, looking into expansion into renewable energy. We've really worked hard in terms of introduction of renewable energy within our operations. Even here in Gaborone, where now most of our facilities are actually powered by renewable energy. Let me also really specifically mention the Orapa gate, the south gate, 100% powered off-grid renewable energy, one of its kind in the country. So really we are making efforts in terms of using alternative energy from the electricity, carbon-generated electricity. So in that, we've made strides. But also let me mention that I think within the country as well, we've had the government actually also gearing towards renewable energy and the renewable energy projects that are being implemented across the country. And in there, we are actually collaborating with BPC to also really benefit from the transitioning into renewable energy, and also really working with other stakeholders, your government, in ensuring that and other partners in the industry to actually ensure that the transition gets us more benefits. And also let me talk to the fact that we are actually continually doing research in terms of carbon capture as one of the alternatives within our carbon neutrality pathway, to say what can we do, looking into more on nature-based solutions. Here we are really talking about a situation whereby we are coming up with a solution that would benefit us in terms of decarbonization, but also how these initiatives is also benefiting the environment. That is what we refer to as nature-based solutions. So we are still doing a lot of research in that space to ensure that the initiatives that are coming, that we come up with, are nature-based. So basically, I'm confident that we are on the right route to ensure that by 2030 we reach our target that we set ourselves in terms of being carbon neutral.
Emma, I understand Debswana operates in one of the driest places, joining in Orapa. How do you ensure that this doesn't hurt the situation? And then how do you minimize your water consumption?
Yeah, actually, when you talk to the space of natural resources use, water is one of really a key resource in our operations. We actually use a lot of water. And like you've already indicated, we do appreciate that we are operating in a dry country. And even in the place that we are operating, like you've mentioned, the areas of Jwana and the areas of Orapa, within our ESG strategy, under the pillar of protecting the natural world, you've already talked extensively on the commitment on climate. In there, we also have a commitment of water, freshwater reduction. And we've committed to 30% freshwater withdrawal by 2030. This pledge was actually influenced by a modeling that we have done and see, which also guided us in terms of which initiative we can do to ensure that we really save water for the country and the communities within which we operate. So the modeling, out of the modeling, then we said, what can we do as an entity to actually reduce our fresh water abstraction? So we have initiatives that helps us in terms of reuse, in terms of recycling water. Some of the initiatives include the stormwater management infrastructure. We've received so much rain this year. How did we ensure that we get a lot of rainwater so that we can reuse the water into our processes and reduce what we are abstracting from the aquifers? We've also, one key project that we are doing is the dry fines project, which is really going to contribute a lot into our water saving initiative and helping us in terms of achieving our 30% water reduction. We really want to see ourselves achieving this as a commitment that we've pledged by 2030.
Emma, how does Debswana ensure that sustainability is felt at employee level?
Yeah, that's a good question. One might be listening to us and say, maybe this is just talk that is occurring at maybe DCC, that is our center here. Let me also indicate that Debswana really is committed to ensuring that sustainability is deeply integrated across the business. When I keep on talking about initiatives that are being implemented, these initiatives are actually implemented by employees. I might be sitting here at corporate affairs, at corporate center, actually guiding the integration of the ESG from the corporate center. But the implementation, like I said, I want to emphasize this. The implementation is actually happening at the operations by employees. When you say, for instance, as a plant engineer, come up with initiatives on how we can actually reduce the use of water, we can reduce the use of electricity. It is those employees that come with innovative ideas on how best we can do that. So I just want to emphasize this to say our employees are the implementers of the initiatives that are commitments that we've set in our sustainability ESG strategy. In addition to that, we also, our employees are trained. I mean, all of us are not sustainability or ESG practitioners. We have training materials where our employees are also trained so that they can have an understanding. Sometimes it's an issue of why am I doing this? You know, you don't want to be told, come up with this initiative to save water. Why am I doing it? So they need to understand why. Because here, it's a commitment for us to protect the environment. Even after my employment in Debswana, I want to go back to a Botswana or an environment that I can use. Even if I'm an employee that is coming within Botswana, as an example, I want an environment that I can go and farm without harming coming from the mining environment. In addition to the commitment, I know we haven't talked about the pillar that talks to people's safety, employee safety, and that is one of the commitment that we've made within our ESG strategy. In there, when we say employees should be safe, employees have that responsibility and accountability to keep themselves safe. We might have policies that we've developed to help employees. We've developed safe working procedures, but those are implemented by employees. So basically, I want to emphasize that sustainability is actually embedded in our daily operations, and we do engage employees. I now and then go to sites where I'm just engaging with the teams on site. By the way, even when we have to revise the strategy or get input, we go to our employees because they will give you real information in terms of what we can do, because they are the ones who are in the ground who can see what is happening.
Sorry, I have to stop you. We are going for a quick commercial break. We'll continue our conversations later.
Diamonds. The word alone evokes potent symbolism. From the unimaginable power of the forces that create these precious stones, to their unparalleled strength and durability, to their indelible association with the most powerful human emotion, love. Born billions of years ago, diamonds have captivated our imagination throughout human history. Botswana, in particular, has a special place in its heart for this magical stone. Diamonds have assisted its transformation from one of the least developed countries in the world to a glittering success story.
The future of the country looked very bleak before the discovery of diamonds. It was so bleak that some people asked whether we were brave or foolish to want to be independent.
New capital, Gaborone, the national flag is unfurled amidst much enthusiasm. Good luck, Botswana. Our best wishes go with you.
The birth of Botswana's diamond dream, sparked by the discovery of the Orapa pipe by De Beers geologists, came shortly after the country's independence. The second major find by the De Beers prospecting team, Zwaneng Mine, propelled Debswana to becoming the world's leading diamond producer by value. Debswana is the largest private sector employer in the country, and its revenues have played a major role in building Botswana's infrastructure, health, and education sectors. Debswana's contribution to Botswana's economy over the past 5 decades has been significant. It is the major contributor to the national economy, contributing 33% to GDP, 70% to export earnings, and 32% to government revenue. Debswana's long-term focus on the sustainability of its business will maintain the lives of its operations and the communities around which they operate for many years to come. Debswana, mining diamonds and enriching the nation for 50 years.
Welcome back. We are talking ESG. Maybe Tlagano, let's talk about the S and the G in ESG. What is Debswana doing around social and governance principles in its operations?
So far, we've talked extensively on the E side of the ESG. I'm glad now we are going into the other, the S and the G part of ESG. Really, in terms of the social aspect of our commitment within our ESG strategy, we are talking about community development in there. We are focusing on the education. We are focusing on the healthcare. We are focusing on the infrastructure development and economic empowerment. Within our ESG strategy, we've made commitments. I've already mentioned, for instance, in terms of jobs, the number of jobs that we have committed to create. We are not doing this alone. Let me also mention the importance of collaboration in the programs and initiatives that we've put in place. We are collaborating with the government authorities to improve, for instance, the healthcare. Even in us developing the initiatives, we engage so that we can really get real social issues within the country and focus on the areas that will make impact on. That is why we looked at the community development, we looked at the health, we looked at the infrastructure, we looked at the education. That came from our collaboration with the government institutions to ensure that we understand the need. And really, our focus here being to improve livelihoods of the communities within which we operate, but also within the country. So basically, that is the main focus of us under our social initiatives. Let me also indicate that going into the governance really is an issue of ensuring transparency and accountability as a business in the way we make decisions. We do have best practice governance frameworks that we are using to guide our governance commitments. And within our ESG governance structures, we do have sustainability committees that goes all the way to the board, where decisions are not only made at a lower level, even from our executive, there are commitments from that level in terms of our implementation of the ESG.
Emma, Debswana is perhaps the country's foremost corporate entities in terms of adopting the latest principles of corporate governance. Why is it important that Debswana is seen to be advancing ESG in its operations?
Let me say that I think this can be a take-home for every organization, basically. Really the importance of integrating ESG within its operations. For Debswana, really, it is very, very important because there are several benefits for us as a company in implementing the ESG principles. Let me also indicate that really for us, it is setting standards for responsible mining. Just to say, we are not here to just dig a hole on the ground and take out the diamonds without a care of how we are protecting the environment. And so it is being a responsible citizen as a company to ensure that we actually ensure long-term sustainability and responsible sourcing, really, for us. And then the second thing, it talks to, I've already talked to the G in ESG that talks to transparency and building trust. You know, in our value chain, we have so many stakeholders, and we can't afford not to be trusted by our stakeholders. Whether you're talking to the communities within which you operate, you're talking to the government authorities, the partners that we make, your investment partners, even the people that buy our diamonds, they should have trust in the way we mine our diamonds. Additionally, also, we implementation of the ESG principles help us really to contribute positively to Botswana's economy. I think that one, it has been emphasized several times. And that is ensuring that the environment is protected, that is ensuring that communities are developed and they benefit. As well as part of the diamond industry, ESG really for us, it really helps us in terms of ensuring that we position ourselves on the global markets. I want to believe that we all read news, we look at social media, and we understand now the space that we are in terms of the diamond markets. And in us, telling our story through implementation of the ESG principles, we are positioning ourselves. We are saying we are a responsible mining company. And hence, we can say to anyone that we are doing mining diamonds in a responsible way, and we can buy our diamonds because they are contributing so much positively in the country.
Emma, I can see you've got a lot to share. I wish we had all the time. Any last words you'd like to share with us?
In me closing this very important conversation, I believe that now I've convinced everyone who will be listening to this on the importance of ESG. Let me, in me saying bye-bye to this conversation, I want to just highlight two of the critical things that we've done as an organization. I've had questions where people are saying, you guys are mining diamonds, why do we have game packs? And for us, it's really showing our environmental commitment. We have game packs that we've put land aside quite significantly. Your 9,000 hectares that we've kept, your 19,000 hectares that we've kept. And we've been doing this since 1985, since, early times of our mining. And we are saying we want to ensure that we contribute to biodiversity management in Botswana. And even ensuring that we help the country in preserving some of the endangered species that are there in our parks. I also want to highlight my last words in terms of commitment to climate change. It's the recent memorandum of agreement that we've signed. In that memorandum of agreement, it's a commitment that we've signed between ourselves and BPC to say we are going renewable energy. So in the agreement, we are going to have renewable certificates, which helps us in terms of ensuring that we even use the other renewable projects that are being implemented across the country. So just to say, we are committed in all aspects of ESG. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming through, Mepitlagano. Let's conserve and save for future generations. From me and my team, until next time.
Thank you.
The Debswana story is one of transformation, the beating heart behind Botswana's evolution. More than a diamond mining company, it epitomizes exploration, innovation, and excellence. Every year, it pioneers responsible resource management, technological progress, and community upliftment, shaping our future. Debswana unearths opportunities, enabling education and livelihoods. Its legacy illuminates our horizons, guiding every Motswana towards a better tomorrow. Debswana, building a brighter future for Botswana, beyond diamonds.